Good morning, family. It's your girl, Chrissy Pips. Listen, in today's video, we are going to do a breakdown of how to set up your charts using the object tree for top-down analysis, okay? And for this one, we're going to go the long way and start from the weekly, because I want to show you guys just a few things to set up and how you can keep your charts clean so that you're not getting confused and seeing too much information, okay? Now, as always, if you're here, you're interested, so let's get into it. Now, first thing first, we're going to start with the weekly chart, okay? And we're going to start with our basics. We're going to draw out a trend line. You know, you need a total of 4 points in order to draw out a trend line. So 1, 2, 3, 4 points. So let's go ahead and draw this bad boy out. Perfect. Okay. This is our weekly. So what we're going to do is pull up the object tree using this button way over here. And we're going to change the color of this because my weekly is just a white line. We're going to click here to add, we're going to create a group. We're going to add a folder. We're going to drag and drop this into the folder. Oops, I think I undid the folder. There we go. And we're going to click this. We're going to change the name of it to week. So now we have a weekly folder, okay? Every tool that we drop in here is going to be for this weekly folder. So let's draw out a few more things, right? And I want to make a little zone here. And everything that we put in here is for good use on the back end. So let's do this. And I like to drop things from the bottom up, so the bottom being the first thing that I put on the chart and the top being the most recent thing that I put on the chart. So let's do that. Okay. Let's draw out another fib. And I want to zoom in so you guys can actually see everything that's going on the chart. And these are green. And this just gives you some information to look at on this time frame. Okay, so we're gonna drop these in here. And I want to box up this area. I want to make sure, for those of y'all who don't know, I am a little bit of a stickler for different placement for things, because I love the numbers, right? Because when you highlight this box right here, it shows you the values for the top and the bottom of the box right here, okay? So this is our weekly markup. And what we're gonna do, I wanna change the outline of this box, because like I said, the things that I have on this time frame are white. Now you can go ahead and click over here inside of your object tree and lock everything at one time so nothing can be moved by mistake. You can also hide everything. Now I suggest locking and then hiding everything before you go down to the next time frame so that you do not have a bias when you are drawing out your or doing your analysis, okay? Because I still want to use the same information. We're still using the most recent part of price action, but I don't want to look at those little things that give me those bias, okay? So we're going to do the same thing here on our daily. This is the absolute low. Price went sideways for a while, and this is where it began to go up. This is our absolute high. This is where the high began. Price moved sideways for a while, and then it finally actually pushed up. Okay, this trend line is red for me on my daily. Okay, since this is the first item on here, we're going to go ahead and click it. We're going to add a folder. We're going to name this one day. Okay, now this gives us a little bit more just tight information if you want to compare it to what we had here. Okay, you see why we don't want to have that bias? Because the daily actually gave us the break a little bit earlier than the weekly. But yeah, let's keep going. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to draw out our fib. And this area broke, so I want to use the absolute high for the area down to the absolute low. And these should be the same. Yep. So let's go ahead and drop a few more dotted lines. And I want to make these a darker red. Just so I can differentiate between the two, that's all. And we're going to do the same thing and draw out another fib from low to our high. We're going to do the exact same thing for each of these time frames. You're going to draw a trend line. You're going to draw out your fib. You're going to find your supply and demand zones. Each time, I'm going to change the color of these just slightly. And I want to box up this area. Now these, because we are on the daily, have an outline of red. And we're going to do a very faint green on the inside. Okay? Now all of these get dropped inside of our folder. So handy dandy trend line, followed by fib, followed by supply and demand zones, fib, and then finally our little box, our area of interest. Okay? Now these are all going to be locked and they're going to disappear. We're going to go down to the 4 hour. 4 hour time frame looks a little bit different. The trend line for this one for me is yellow. This is our absolute high. Oops, wrong tool. There we go. And for this one, I do want to use the magnifying glass tool. This is where price actually took off. I told y'all I am a stickler for precision when it comes to these. And we're going to zoom out. So we have our 4 points. And you can look at it to compare. Right? You can look at it to compare. But it's just so that you do not create an unnecessary bias when you're doing these. So, we have this drawn out. Let's go ahead and draw out our fib. And I'm going to zoom in again. This is the high back here. So, let's look at this zone. And we're going to change this to a slightly different green. So we got a little bit of movement on top of this area. It's an area of concern. You can take a look at your other time frames to see what's going on. I love having the boxes different colors because it's going to give me that additional analysis. Okay? When things overlap like this, you know these areas on Fibonacci are not precise points of like areas of the market. It's a box around here, right? It's not an exactly it has to be this number type thing. But let's go ahead and turn those back off. And we're going to do something that I like to do on the lower time frames is actually draw out the movement. Okay? So lastly, we're going to go ahead and draw out this last fib, right, from high to low. And we're still zooming in. Yep, that's the low. Perfect. We're going to zoom back out. Now, this is going to be boxed up, but I want to show you guys like what we're going to be doing on the lower time frame, because the last time frame for me is like the 30-minute. We're going to make this a different color, red. And this one is new folder. We're going to call this the 4 hour. We're going to drag and drop each of our items in order into this folder. Okay. And let's keep drawing out our stuff. As y'all know, it's consolidation season, so I love my supply and demand. I want to box up this area. This is a box for sellers to show up. This trend line on this time frame is yellow. So we have white on the weekly, we have red on the daily, we have yellow on the 4 hour. As far as the trend line goes, the box edge color is also going to be in yellow. So it lets me know if I have everything overlapped and I'm looking at them, I know what specific time frame that box is for based on the edge of it. Okay. And that's just me. I prefer to do it that way because I like to sometimes look at the different time frames to see how well things line up. So let's go ahead and lock our items, drag and drop the rest of our items in here, lock those too. And this is what it looks like so far, but I want to go down to the 30-minute because this is typically where I enter at. So we're going to turn these off on the 4 hour. On our 30-minute, we're going to use this swing, okay? Just the full swing. Now for this one, because this is the area that we actually enter on, I want to start up here. This is the low. I want to end up here somewhere. We're going to zoom in. This is our highest closing candle in wick. We're going to zoom in here because we had consolidation and then the drop off to create the low. So we want to find out where that was created, which was this red candle. That's the highest candle in this area. Okay. This one is going to be green. We're going to go ahead and zoom out. Now that we have one item on this time frame, we're going to create a folder, click it. We're going to call this one 30-minute. Okay. Now from here, this is where my analysis gets a little bit, some people, well, I'm very thorough. So we're going to take the time to draw out Fibonacci swings until we get to current price action. I want to see how price is reacting to specific areas in the market repeatedly on the 30-minute time frame, because yes, I do look for, wick entries. Okay, so this is gonna require us to zoom in quite a bit, zoom out quite a bit, and just keep going through this process over and over and over again. But it's well worth it to me. I like wick entries though, so for me it's worth it. For other people it might not be. But we're gonna keep dragging and dropping these into our 30-minute time frame, and we're gonna mark up. And I have to zoom in on this one because I like to leave my magnet tool on. But I like to see like how good the entries are. It's a thing for me, because think about it like this. If this was our swing and we were on the 30-minute, we know that this was our area to get in to look for our sales. We're going to make this red. It's actually a sale box that I already have done. We're going to change the outline to this one to green though. For our sellers here, this was a good entry. Remember, when you're getting in at the 50% 618 zone, your stop loss is at the 835. So this never hit stop loss. This was a good setup. Okay, we have a very strong trending market, so we're going to go ahead and draw out another one after we drop this one in there. draw out another fib from our high to this low to see where price reacted. Okay, we want to make sure we are on the absolute high for this area, and we are. And our lowest closing candle is here. We're gonna fix this, zoom out, and this one was a 236 entry. We gotta close here for us to be able to keep going. It never hit 50%, so we got in when price action broke lower here. So since I don't trade those, I would not mark them up, but we can draw this out, and then let's take a look at the next swing. Our next swing, because this was all consolidation, we could definitely eat in the consolidation on like a 15-minute chart, but for this one, we're going to draw out another fib from high to low. Look at what the market did, which was consolidate for quite a while. And this is our high. This is the highest wick. And this is just to help you guys out, because I had one of these questions this weekend working with my team. And let's box up this area. And we're going to fill this one a little bit more. Let's see. There we go. And we had no stop losses hit if we were to get in at this 786, 886 zone before the drop off for the sale. We had consolidation for just a few days, so that wasn't bad. But yeah, it might have been a little nerve wracking. Let's see. So for this also, with this being consolidation on a lower time frame, we're just looking to see what happens and which side it breaks out to. Okay, so we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep drawing until we get to current price action. Okay, and it looks like current price action is right here. So let's start up here, draw down here. Let's move some of these things into our object tree in order. We're gonna lock what we have, except for this one, because we're still working on it. And this is the highest closing candle right here, and the highest wick. There are no bodies that close above my crosshair. Okay, so we're gonna look for the same thing right here. This is the lowest area. No candles come lower than here, so let's find out what the absolute low is, so we can go ahead and fix our fib. And yep, you use the full wick. We're gonna go ahead and zoom out. Now for this one, for sellers momentum, we're gonna box up this area. Now, one of the things too, I have a slight bias strong bias, I should say, against drawing out or overextending your fib past the set of candles that you're using. That's why I draw the boxes out at where the fib begins and then out until I start to see price action touch it. Okay? Because I have found in helping people that when they have a tendency to overextend their fib tool, they miss some of the information that's provided because it's inside a fib, and you're typically looking for price action after Fibonacci, after the swing that you're looking at. So if you're just boxing up that swing, and then, if you're just drawing your fib on that swing and then boxing up the area afterwards, it lets you have a mental note of, oh, I need to take a look at what happens when price action enters this area. Okay? So I have a strong bias against overextending your fib, but making sure that you're extending the box through the area that you're looking for price action to react to. But that's just me, you know? But let's see. So from here, this is what we're looking at. Okay? Now, you still have some additional information that you can use here. So for this swing, you can draw out another fib from low to high. We're going to zoom in. Make sure this is on the highest candle. And this one is correct. So now we can box up a full area. Okay? And this is for the buy. So we're going to change these colors around a little bit. Add green in there. We're going to make it a little lighter. There we go. Drop these inside of the box. And you can still do the same thing over and over and over again. If you want to do the shorter swing, you can, but I would recommend going down to a lower time frame. Even if you wanted to lock all of these, make them invisible, and maybe go down to something like the 5 minute and box up just these swings, you can. But I just wanted to show you guys, looking at top down, let's go ahead and reset our chart, zoom out quite a bit, and we're going to look at what the different time frames are telling us different areas in the market are to look at. So let's go back all the way up to, let's say, the 3 hour, and we're going to condense this. So let's take a look at what our weekly says on the 3 hour. And the reason why I'm using the 3 hours is because it's going to give us the ability to see most of the chart that I just boxed up, right? So then, this is the daily. So there's a slight difference between the two, just a slight difference. Okay? The trend line is the biggest difference, because looking at the weekly, the things that are wicks on the weekly can actually be candle bodies on the daily. So let's take a look at what the 4 hour overlap looks. So we condensed it into just this most recent swing. So let's go back. So see here, we have our weekly, our daily trend lines. We got the breaks, okay? And on our 4 hour, we have a tighter break here, okay? And even on the 30 minute, it gets even better, right? Because now we've confirmed the down. We got the breaks multiple times. So let's take a look at what it looks like down. Now, if you were to draw all of this out on your chart and not remove it, this is what it would look like, and it would be terribly confusing and hard to keep up with. So that's why I use the object tree, because I can look at just the time frames that I want to and keep them relevant. So for me, when I'm looking at everything, looking at the daily and the weekly together makes sense, because I want to see what those trend lines are doing, if the supply and demand zones are the same, if the areas for buy and sell actually line up too. Okay? Then from there, we'll go to the 4 hour and the 30 minute, and I like to look at those two together. Okay? But that is going to wrap up this video. I know somebody on my team asked for a little bit of extra help with how I do top-down analysis, and I wanted this video to be just that. We did use Bitcoin because, you know, it's moving. We might as well. So I'm not calling out a trade. This is not a trade idea, but I did want to show you guys what the market looks like if you're doing top-down analysis using the same steps that I typically follow. Now, as always, if you guys are finding some value from the information, please go ahead and share it with other people. Go ahead, like, comment. Don't forget to subscribe. That way you don't miss out on notifications when I do post new videos for you. But I hope you guys are having an awesome and productive day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.